you are welcome to go ahead and start on Avi and Benita's repair shop. Who's talking? Do I have to make a seating chart for Math 8? Because I'm in the middle of announcements and people are just carrying on a conversation. Then we have a video to watch to wrap up what we learned both from last week and from the Desmos activity. Then we have another YouTube video, kind of funny. It is somewhat thanks to Weird Al. And then we have another Desmos activity if we have time to get to it, but they're both pretty enjoyable. So, first things first, 811 is due today. Are there remaining questions from 811? But I'm going to start passing these out in case people are wondering, wait a minute, where is my 811? Like Max, there is people who's 811. 811. That's what I was wondering. So, thank you for that segue of a question. As we talked about last week, but some of us were not here to hear about it, and now the location has moved. So if you're thinking about Desmos, give me your brain for a second. 811, 812, 813, 821, and 822 are all over here now. I moved them over here because some of our friends are vertically challenged and can't see quite as high as the rest of us. I think that's why my wife married me. I can reach the top shelf. So, it's one of them. If you are looking for any Chapter 8 worksheet, they're probably going to be living here. So, please put them back in. If you grab one you don't need, put it back in the right way so you can see the number. The number should be sticking out here, right? So you can just look at the very end of it and check out what it is. I'm doing this because I'm starting to send stuff to the copy center. So if you walk over here, what's probably going to be over here starting in a couple days is the next chapter's worksheets. Because I'm trying to get the rest of the year to be a bit smoother for me so I got less stress. Because right now my main stress is trying to get kids caught up. I don't need my stress to be, did I make those worksheets yet or not? So I'm sending stuff to the copy center. I have it way ahead of time. Current chapter is over there / the upcoming days of the current chapter you can grab ahead of time. Max.
Is that how it's not? I need to get rid of all stress.
What?
Is that how it's not? I need to get rid of all stress, and I need to manage what stress is important.
Oh, there's no getting rid of all stress. That's impossible.
Well, yes.
At the end of the day, I'm going to be stressed out. What am I eating? Right? I got to put food in my body.
Yes, correct. At any time, China could just declare war, and that would be it.
Okay, well, we're not going to go that deep. So if you did not, I need to take it back. If you did not get 811 back right now, it needs turned in today. So it should either be out on your desk because I just gave it to you, or because you're about to turn it in. Are there questions? I know we went over it last week, but about 8 of us still needed to turn it in.
That's a lot of people.
Not really. When it wasn't really due till today. I mean, over half of you turned it in ahead of time. That's pretty good. So, here's the deal with those of you that like turning in homework ahead of time. You're sort of making me have a couple extra steps at the end of the day because I have to sort all my papers. I don't care if you turn it in ahead of time. It's not really a big deal, but I do care if you haven't checked the answers yet. So if you're turning it in ahead of time, we need to put the answers up here. So if you're trying to turn in 812 today, you need to check the answers first. Or you could just save it since we have so much to do today. So for today, let's not look at 812. Let's not turn it in because we got a lot to do, right? But I want you to check your answers before you turn it in because if you have wrong answers, we gotta deal with that, right? That's something we got to talk about. So if there's no 811 questions, we are all diving into Avi and Benita's repair shop in Desmos. What? Remember we said that with 811, your table could be different because I accidentally called it a conditional relative frequency table. But they, since it's only a relative frequency table, and since they called the independent variable, I believe it was us.
The number of activities.
Yeah, activity hours. So that's why you get your 100% this direction. So if it was conditional relative, these percents are going to be smaller because all four of them together total up to 100% if you made it into conditional relative. Yeah, Maddie. Which one are you really looking for?
Oh, there.
Remember, T is always in whatever they told us based off the cycles of interest earned. Alright, looks like Ranal is not in yet. Are you struggling to get in, or you were just busy with stuff? Maddie is not in Desmos yet, which is fine if you guys are like checking homework and getting it ready to turn in. Guys, especially for my Math 8 students, which is all of you, I'm giving out a lot more check minuses than I used to for people that are copying answers, not showing work, or like turning in wrong answers. Because by the time you turn your paper in, you should not have wrong answers. If it's wrong, we should have fixed it. Like, we're kind of transitioning from earlier in the year, like, we just kind of do our homework, turn it in. Now we care for accuracy. Like, it's not what earns you a check or not, but I put the answers in front of your face. Like, it's not like you have to get there on your own. I love Kirby.
I do too. That's very.
How are you at drawing, Kirby?
I drew a picture of Kirby with a knife today. I saw that you left it in science. Yes, and I wrote Kirby is done with your BS.
Oh, but you didn't just write BS, and now it's what our teacher team is talking about. So, you might have made your own bet there, Max.
You know what? I'll go down by that. I'll be okay with getting in trouble for that.
I love that scene, except I didn't say fudge. They're A Christmas Story, right? Yeah, where his dad's changing the tire and he knocks the bolts into the snow and he goes, "Oh, fudge!" And then his dad, "Get back in the car." Man, that's one of the only times I've had my mouth washed out with soap was when I swore in front of my parents. And I'm not just saying that because that movie legit had my mouth washed out with soap because my mom is old school.
I also ate soap when I was a toddler and I would get my stomach pumped. I didn't cuss. It just smelled like tangerine.
So interesting results here. And I anonymized you guys, right? So most of us, I believe, are past slide 2. So it says, who do you think pays more on day 10, Avi or Benita? Let's go with some random cards to see if anyone would like to chime in with why they made their guess. So don't tell us who you are, because especially because I'm recording, I don't want people to be able to like connect things back to who is who. But Grant, do you want to tell me why you made whatever choice you made, or tell us like what you observed back on slide 2? Yeah, that's why I'm also not going to pause this right now, because I want to make sure that we've all identified the same stuff before we all continue to move on, like real fast. Grant, you want to hit us with it?
On day 10.
And I don't want the calculation. I just want what you noticed from this table. Actually, just give me one thing. Either Avi or Benita, tell me something about them.
Avi is doubling by 2 every day, and Benita is adding by 100.
Ooh, Avi's doubling, so we don't actually have to say by 2, but you kind of we're redundant there. It's all good. Avi's multiplying by 2, or we could say Avi's doubling every day, right? From 1 cent to 2 cent to 4 cents. And Benita, even though I asked Grant to tell me about one person, he went ahead and said both. It's all good. Benita's adding 100 every day.
Also, it's the day multiplied by 100.
Oh, well, that makes it easy. It's whatever day number times 100. Brenda was able to relate this day column and Benita's dollars column. All right, keep rolling.
I have a question.
Some things at this point might start to feel E-word because we're so good. And we've done so much practice.
Not anyone's so good.
Easier, right? As Mr. Hall said. It's a comparison.
I always think of that rhyme that day.
I have a question, Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Are the teachers finding it funny, or am I really screwed?
For the sake of I can't speak for everyone, I don't know.
Oh, no.
But it is not school appropriate, and you are aware of that. So
No, I didn't. I meant to. I made it to take it home. I didn't. I forgot it.
So let's get ahead of this. Come with me.
Before it
Come,
I
hey,
beg you,
hey, come with me right now. Let's get ahead of this. Come, Max.
Okay. Oh no. No! Rusted beef. Another grade will be out the grade.
That was good. You're having the best. Best line. Day comment.
Wait, Max left it in science. Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
found it.
found it on the desk. What did it say? I didn't say stuff.
Brenda.
Okay, wait, did someone see it? Probably.
There you go. You want that spot that hurt.
Maybe that's probably not. Okay, never mind. I forget how to do that equation with the time. I'm just doing it with the calculator. Windows. The fitness gram pacer test. No, I went through that already. Not doing it again. I wasn't there for that day. My parents would let me out so that day.
She died in a hole. She died in a hole. Your mom.
Hey, no, what? Max is probably in trouble here. Wow.
Yeah, let's see.
Guys,
Life advice from Mr. Hudson. When you get caught doing something that you're not supposed to do, such as, I don't know, if you're skateboarding in the high school parking lot late at night because your dad has heart surgery the next day. I'm using... and then, that was what I was doing. My dad was having heart surgery the next day. My mom kicked us out of the house because we were being too loud and he needed to sleep. So we went to the high school and we were skateboarding, and you're not allowed to do that. So life advice from Hudson. When the cops pull up and shine the bright spotlight at you, do not run away. Instead, go towards the officer, greet them politely, ask if you've done something wrong, and apologize for doing something wrong. So that is what I had Max go do, is get a... Is she not there? It's her planning period, so she might be in the bathroom or whatever else. We'll give it a few minutes and give you another shot to go back. So what I just told Max to do is get ahead of it, go admit to Pettigrew that he accidentally left that there, that it was not meant to be found at school. It was not directed towards any of us. He was just trying to be funny, but leaves a trail of drawings wherever he goes, and this is now working against him.
I thought he was cool made it and I thought it was funny and I didn't want to like destroy it and throw it away since I liked it too much and I wanted to take it home and I forgot it.
Well, I mean, so this graph, when I was getting ready for this activity and I looked at this graph, I thought Desmos was broken. But this goes back to a conversation we keep having about axes and not breaking the axes, like with the lightning bolt. How much does Avi pay on day 10? Like $5? What would this first tick mark be? $100. So even as we're lifting away from the x-axis, because the scale of this graph, it does not go very far up. So this definitely looks like, man, I'm going to Benita's. I'm going to go work there. They pay me an extra $100 every day. I'm going there. Now, what's going to work against me with us doing this activity is I already told you the parable of the sage and the king. Right? So we already talked about that parable last week, which actually I ended up telling my parents because when I did my little, always call your parents, by the way, no matter how old you get, you got to call your parents. So I was doing my weekend little, hey mom, hey dad, how you doing? And they asked about school and they'd never heard that story, and I blew their mind. Yes? What numbers? Oh, yeah. So here are some of the graphs that some of you have created.
Wait, Mr. Hudson.
Oh, sorry, not next slide, next person.
Can you look up my response?
Nope. These are all of the ones that have been submitted so far. It will go through. So, no, I'm not, Jake. We will look at yours at some point, but I'm not going to specifically show anything with any, like, wait a minute. Straight line here.
Oh, maybe that's a thing.
I don't know if there's something in the situation I didn't know about. So actually this, by the way, is a line tool that draws a straight line for you. Mind blown.
See, this is why we should keep doing Desmos. It teaches you something new every day.
Now, curved line, as somebody showed right here with their anger.
I'm sorry.
Curved lines are a little harder. It's all good. It's all good. Oh, we're gonna get steep here.
Thank you. I'm proud of them.
Feels very Nintendo like. I don't know why, but
I even erased
ooh, these look nice. Although those are all points. I think we're supposed to sketch a line.
I'm gonna go see.
Yeah, you're good, man.
I put a bunch of.
Have you been watching the Winter Olympics? That's what I'm thinking of, like the slope.
Oh, yeah, the ski jump.
Large, skiing slope.
I don't know if I want to show those tables yet. What? Are you sure? For day 20?
What? $5,000, $50,000?
Well, I can see somebody with $5,000, somebody with $163, somebody with $5,000, $6,000. Uh-oh, I think some of us need to check our math. Somebody writing in scientific notation, but we're not doing scientific notation yet, really? So, Connor, you should not be working in scientific notation. I think your calculator might be in a wrong setting. Do you want me to come check your calculator?
My name's
So
John.
that is actually what you're saying.
My name's Johnny Butt.
Because negative powers divide by 10. So if you're trying to make it really big, you need that to be a positive number. But I don't think we need to use scientific notation yet, because if we do 2048 times 2, well, but if his calculator's in the wrong setting, it's going to give it. No, so you're in the right setting, I believe.
Here's something fun about your calculator you might not know yet. Once you get it started, it will keep going. And here's what I mean. You know when somebody says, like, hey, double that, now double that, now double that? If I type in 1024, it'd help if I turn my calculator on.
Just a little bit.
1024 times 2. I get my answer. Nah, you're jumping over the important step. 2048. Now I hit times 2 and it grabs the previous answer. Enter. If I don't know if it works if I just hit enter again. Yeah, it does. If on this calculator, if I just hit enter again, it copies the same thing I just typed. But some of us are using this calculator. So, by the way, on my left calculator, I can just keep hitting enter and it will keep doubling. And then I can kind of type those in as long as I had my first number right. In the fancier calculator, I can still do it that way. Or what I wanted to show you guys was if you hit second and then the enter button, it literally copies what you just had typed in. And then I can edit it if I need to. But if I do that here, it will continue to grab the previous answer and multiply it by 2. So notice it doesn't get the same answer over and over again. It continues to double that previous answer. So, where did my cards go? I had cards. Amelia, do you want to explain to us what we see happening here? No? Sorry, somebody else said no. Okay, when we get to slide 6, it's asking us to complete for days 11 to 20. What did you find out for at day 20, or are you there yet?
Yeah. Day 20, it was 5,140.48 because it kept getting multiplied by 2, but it was multiplied by the new number, and the new number was bigger, so it just kept getting bigger and bigger.
So, be careful here. The ... means like we're skipping over 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, but it does the same thing, right? We said the ellipse means keep that going, right? Like continue to do the same thing. So I think, now maybe I was off. Maybe 1024 wasn't it. If I started at a penny, Um, 256 is right. And then, this should be 512. So this table does have a mistake. If you are Robert Megason, so let's go back and look for another one. That should be 512, 1024, 2048, 4096. Uh-huh.
I knew it was going to be a trick question.
It's not a trick question. It's a math question.
Yeah, but still, it's just getting doubled by the new number, so it's just growing.
So,
You know, that's how you trick
And
your
it's like
employees.
one of those like parabola. I don't know how.
it's not a parabola. It is not a parabola. It looks similar to a parabola, but we'll talk later about why it's not a parabola. Avi has skyrocketed up. So I was chatting with one of my math teacher friends about this. And they said, oh yeah, you know what I like to do with that? At the beginning of the year, I tell my students I will make them a deal. Either we can have 20 minutes of homework each night, or I will start them with 5 seconds of homework tonight. My 20 minutes will increase by 1 minute every day, or maybe he starts with 10 minutes or whatever. Said my 5 seconds will double every day. And I asked my students, which do you want? And most of them very quickly, gut reaction, say 5 seconds. Okay, so beginning of the school year. Homework is probably the E word, right? We don't really care how much time you spend on it. But very quickly, his students start to realize that 5 seconds becomes 10, becomes 20, becomes 40, becomes 80, becomes 160, becomes 320, becomes 640. Now they're already at 10 minutes. And then double that, now you're at 20 minutes. Double that, now you're at 40 minutes. Double that, now you're at 80 minutes of homework. And very quickly they realize that they have made the wrong choice.
Wait, how much? Wait, I would love to. Did the teacher actually make them do like 160 minutes?
No, they then let them back off that choice and say, this is exponential. Right? So, compound interest.
I love how for a second everyone was ready to kill me.
I love that moment where I think if you all decided to try to kill me, I'm stuck in a corner and like, what's my way out? Which, by the way, my way out is climb on top of this, go through the ceiling. That's how I get out. So,
You really popped this after.
compound interest.
Yo, why you got
Always know your exits. There's another piece of Hudson advice. Always know your exits. So, compound interest. Remember, I can only make the jokes if we can bring it back together. Compound interest. Hey, guys, sometimes when I repeat myself, I'm waiting for people to look at me because I can tell you're not listening. Compound interest. Maximilian. I was waiting for you to look at me. Exactly what I just said. Max. Compound interest, which you asked me about earlier,
Oh yeah, I did do that.
is represented by an exponential function, such as what we saw here. When the growth does not go linearly, but instead starts to climb very rapidly, or as some of you said, has skyrocketed up, this is the difference between a simple interest, loan or investment, and a compound interest, loan or investment. Now, do you think your money is doubling? Probably not. So, a better explanation of that, and I'll unlock this in a minute. I gotta pause this so I don't get messed up with anybody else's video.